Hi everyone, I'm Callie Kim. Welcome to my garden. Well, summer is quickly turning into fall, but that doesn't mean that gardening season is over. Today I'm sharing with you 5 must-plant vegetables for September. And there's something very special about these vegetables that'll simplify your planting process. But be advised, there's a very critical date that you need to know in order for your fall garden to be successful. I'll share all that with you next. Stick around. September is the perfect time to plant these vegetables. I mentioned in the beginning, they all have something in common. They're all cool weather vegetables and they can all be direct seeded, which means that they enjoy temperatures of 75 degrees or under. They're not going to grow well in hot temperatures, and you can directly plant the seeds right in your garden beds or in containers, which completely simplifies the process. We're planting right in the garden, folks, which really makes it fast and easy. It's important for you to know that a successful fall garden is all about planting these vegetables now before the cold sets in so they can get established, giving you a better chance of getting fresh, delicious vegetables to harvest before winter. And what's more is all these vegetables are frost tolerant, which means they'll survive the early freezes that you get in the wintertime. And that critical date you need to know is your first frost date. So check almanac.com, pop in your zip code, and it will tell you the average first frost date in your area. Then you check the vegetable that you're growing, the days to maturity that it has, and count backwards that amount of time. So if you know you have time to get a harvest before the frost sets in. Now, little caveat for you southern gardeners who might still have a few more months of warm weather and frost-free winters. You might still be growing your warm weather vegetables, so wait to plant these vegetables until the average temperatures in your area are 75 or below. That way you can be sure to be successful in growing them. First vegetable to plant in September are radishes, a very easy crop for a beginning gardener. They go from seed to harvest in about 3 to 4 weeks, and I like growing them in a container. They're shallower rooted vegetables. A little strategy for you southern gardeners: plant them in a container at the base of a taller vegetable like a tomato plant so they have a little bit of shade in case the temperatures get hot. I have a well-drained potting soil here in this Smart Pot, but I am going to add some extra soil amendments, not only to give my tomato a little bit of boost, but also to help my radishes grow really well. Got a handful of compost in there, a handful of vermisteria worm castings, which will really help the roots get established, which is very important in the fall weather, especially in cold climates, because you want those roots getting established so you can get a nice harvest. And then a little small handful of organic granular fertilizer. Mix it into the top level. And we're going to plant some watermelon radish seeds today from my fall garden seed collection. And by the way, all of my seed collections are 50% off right now with the code TOMATO from my Labor Day sale. So go on over and grab your fall garden seed collection. So you've got 14 varieties of cool weather veggies to plant. Now, radishes are so easy to plant. I like to plant them, the seeds, about 1 inch or so apart, so the roots have plenty of space to grow. And what I'm going to do is drop the seeds right here next to my drip emitter hose. Then when the temperatures get too hot, radishes tend to get a little bit woody. So planting them in the shade will really help them in the fall warm temperatures that you might have. They're a delicious, kind of slightly spicy root vegetable, which make a great addition to salads or just to eat raw. And they can also be succession planted every couple of weeks. And there's only so many radishes you can eat at once. And this way it spreads the harvest out and keeps them rolling right in throughout the fall months. And I'm going to put a little handful of compost on the top just to barely cover the seeds. And you want to plant your radishes in full sun as long as the temperatures are 75 degrees or under. And the great thing is they will take light frosts, so that way you can even grow them into the early winter months. Because radishes have shallow roots, they do need regular watering. So make sure you keep the soil moist, especially while they're germinating, but you don't want to have it waterlogged. And make sure if you're planting in a container, it has good drainage, which this Smart Pots does, so that all the extra water can drain out the bottom. If you find the video helpful, hit the like button below and subscribe if you haven't already. Thanks. As long as the temperatures are under 75 degrees, radishes germinate so quickly. That's what makes them really fun to grow. A very fun crop to grow with your kids. So in just a few days, you're going to see some shoots emerge from the soil. They'll be ready to harvest in about 3 weeks. And when they're ready to harvest, you're going to see little the roots bulging from the soil. below the greens. And by the way, the greens are also edible, and they're very delicious in salads and soups and stir fries. So to see if they're ready to harvest, just put your finger in the soil, kind of feel around the bulge of the radish. When they're about an inch or so in diameter, depending on the variety you're growing, you're going to gently lift them out of the soil, and then you can enjoy them fresh and raw or sauteed or roasted, which really helps reduce their peppery flavor. Next vegetable to plant in September, also a root vegetable, loves the cool temperatures and can be direct seeded, carrots. Now, carrots are such a sweet, crunchy, fun vegetable to grow. In fact, when our son was younger, that was one of the only vegetables he would come out and pull and eat directly from the garden. But they do love really loose, well-draining soil. I love to plant them in containers because there's no obstructions, and then you get nice, straight carrots instead of those funny, misshapen ones that you might have seen before. So we're just going to directly seed our carrot seeds, and I'm planting the rainbow carrots from my fall garden seed collection. Multiple colored carrots in the same packet really makes it fun. There's purple, yellow, and orange carrots in here. I'm just going to lightly sprinkle the seeds. Again, right around the drip irrigation hose, because carrots, it's really critical that they have moisture while they're germinating or they will not germinate. So you do not want to let your soil dry out. I did just kind of sprinkle instead of try and space the carrots apart. Because the seeds are very small, they're difficult to space. So what I like to do is once the seeds germinate, I thin them out with a little pair of scissors as they grow so the roots have plenty of room to grow. So we'll lightly sprinkle here. And carrots can take up to a couple of weeks to germinate. So just be patient, hang in there, and in about 60 to 70 days, you're going to have beautiful, crunchy, sweet carrots, which are the perfect fall comfort food to eat fresh or to add to your stews and winter soups. Critical for carrots is keep them moist, especially while they're germinating, or you're not going to have a good germination rate. So sprinkle them lightly, and then keep an eye on them so they don't dry out. I'm going to give you a little tip to keep your soil moist, and that is shade cloth. It will help keep the moisture in, the heat out. So just lay a piece of shade cloth over your smart pot here, clip it on. And because the soil temperatures are warmer right now at the end of the summer, it will help your carrots germinate quicker. So after about 2 weeks, once they've germinated, you're going to see those nice leafy greens come up from the soil. And carrot greens are also edible. So you get a double whammy with those too. But you check when they're ready to harvest, similar to how you check radishes. You're going to see the orange, purple, or yellow carrots bulging here from the soil. Just put your finger in. When they're about an inch or so in diameter, you're going to want to pull a test carrot. Now, rainbow carrot should be around 6 inches or so long. So pull yourself a test carrot, see how long it is. If it looks ready, chances are the rest of your carrots are ready to harvest too. The fun thing about carrots is cold temperatures and frost actually make them sweeter. Now, in milder climates, you can actually leave them in the ground and harvest them as needed over the wintertime. In areas where you get hard freezes, I'm going to mulch them heavily to insulate them and protect them from the cold, and then harvest as needed. Or you can harvest them and store them in a root cellar. Next vegetable for September are beets. Love planting the root vegetables in the fall because they last very, very well over the wintertime. Now, beets have a very naturally sweet, earthy flavor, a natural sweetener in them, and we're planting Ruby Queen beets today, a beautiful purple beet, which can also be made for juices and it makes for a nice, sweet root vegetable that you can use in so many different ways. In fact, roasting beets caramelizes them, which really enhances the sweetness. Now, beet seeds are very unique. They're actually little pods, which have several seeds in them. So when you're planting beet seeds, you're going to see little shoots come out from every single pod. So we're spacing them a couple inches apart, again, to give enough room for the roots. Because they are root vegetables, they grow, again, very well in a container. You can grow a small amount here in this 5-gallon CaliChem Smart Pot, which are also available over at CaliChemGardenandHome.com. Or if you want more beets, grow them in a raised bed, grow them in a larger container like a 10-gallon or a little shorty raised bed, and you'll have plenty to enjoy over the summer. You don't want to poke them too deep because that will inhibit their germination. So typically the rule of thumb is plant your seeds about half the width of the seed itself. Grow your beets in full sun and cooler temperatures. You can grow them in partial shade, but they will produce more greens and less roots that way. But the greens are also edible. So you can make yourself a nice salad with the beet greens, the carrot greens, and the radish greens. And it's really delicious and quite zippy. So for watering, you do want to, again, keep the soil nice and moist while they're germinating. Avoid letting the soil dry out, as it can cause the roots to be woody and tough instead of nice and tender and sweet. Beets do germinate fairly quickly. So in about 5 to 7 days, again, in cooler temperatures, you're going to see the beet greens pop up. And I always like to mulch my vegetables as I plant them. But this is very important because it regulates the soil temperature, not only in cooler temperatures, but also in hot temperatures. And because beets can also withstand frost, they become sweeter with frost. You can mulch them heavily in cold areas to protect them in the ground during the winter freezes. Next vegetable is a fun one. It's kohlrabi. Now, if you've never grown kohlrabi before, you really must plant it in September. It's always fun to experiment with new varieties. And it's not a root vegetable. It's actually called a bulbous vegetable. The bulb actually grows above the ground, and it's almost an alien-like looking bulb. If you've ever grown kohlrabi, you'll know exactly what I mean. So again, it grows beautifully in a container, but you can also plant it in raised beds or in-ground gardens. And the variety we're planting is gorgeous. It's purple Vienna kohlrabi from my fall garden seed collection, and you're going to absolutely love it. It kind of has the flavor of a broccoli stem, and it is such a fun veggie to grow. You just have to grow it with your kids. Why not give them their own container to grow in this fall? So the seeds are very small. I'm sprinkling them in here along the drip so they get good moisture. And again, if you want more kohlrabi, and I guarantee you will, grow several containers or a whole raised bed full. Now, they can also be succession planted, so you don't have too much kohlrabi at once. They're absolutely delicious, eaten raw, which is my favorite way to eat them. But you can also roast them or chop them into stir fries. There's lots of different varieties you can grow. White kohlrabi, green kohlrabi, purple kohlrabi, and the greens are also edible too. Add water, mulch with shredded straw or shredded leaves. Vegetable number 5 to plant in September is arugula. Now, with all these delicious root vegetables we have growing, we definitely need some quick growing, easy greens to put them on top of. And arugula definitely fits the bill. It's one of the quickest growing greens that there is. It grows in about 3 weeks from seed to harvest. Now, arugula grows very well in the shade of other vegetables. So here under my A-frame trellis, I still have cucumbers growing, and I'm just going to scrape aside the mulch here. The wonderful thing about arugula is that it often self-seeds. So it'll bolt and go to flower. The bees enjoy the flowers, and then it'll drop its seeds all over and will often grow again next year. Because it's so easy to grow, you guys, so stinking easy. I'm not even going to amend the soil. We're just keeping it simple. This is arugula from my fall garden seed collection, which is also called rocket or rocket in some areas as well. So I'm not even going to amend the soil. I'm just going to lightly sprinkle the seeds here, and these will literally pop up in a couple of days. Even in warmer climates, you can get arugula planted right now. The soil's warm, the air temperature's warm, and you'll be surprised at how quickly these delicious peppery greens pop up, and you will be harvesting them in about 3 weeks' time. Arugula, I love just eating in salads, but we also enjoy topping it on our garden fresh pizzas or sauteing it in scrambled eggs. It's such a versatile, delicious green. Now I'm going to very lightly spread some of my soil on top, and this soil is already nice and moist. I'm not even going to water it, but you definitely want to sprinkle it with some water if your soil is dry. You can grow it in your raised beds, your in-ground gardens, your containers. You can literally grow arugula anywhere. And remember, get these vegetables planted now in September so you can get a harvest before the cold weather sets in. Thanks for watching. See you next time in the garden.